Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun to Lean On. Today I have a more fun type of Iyun to Lean On. Halacha Beis and Simon Kufay and 179 talks about Misha Somech al Shulchan Acherim. You go to someone else's house. I feel Amar Havlam and Avarech Lo Have Hesach Hadas Ad Shomer Balabayas. Normally, if you're in your own house and you tell your wife, "Come, bring the Mayim Achronim or bring a Koshal Bracha," it's considered a Hesach Hadas, like your mind is distracted from the meal. If you want to drink again, you have to make a bracha on the drink. If you want to eat again, it's a machlokas. But basically, you shouldn't be eating or drinking again. You should be benching. When you're at someone else's house, if you say Havlan Avarich, imagine that you go to someone invites you as a guest, and you tell his wife, you're ready to go, and he's schmoozing, about 8th grade when he was, in camp, and he was put in the corner by the on-duty counselor. Everyone else had a night activity, and he was in the corner looking at quarters spin or something. I once heard when my brother was talking about this. It's a camp experience. I don't know what he was talking about. But he's very preoccupied with talking about the quarters spinning in the corner of the bunkhouse while he was held back from night activities by the on-duty counselor for night watch, whatever. And you got to get out of there. You can't take it anymore. You're not enjoying this. You have to go somewhere. But you feel embarrassed because he invited you for a meal. You feel embarrassed. Can we end the meal? So I mentioned in the main share that they have this newcomer's guide for people that go to Israel for a gap year, yeshiva for boys, seminary for girls. When you go to people's houses, one of the things they talk about a lot of things in there. Places to visit, stores to shop at. They gave you tips on how to live there. When you go to people's houses, there's going to be a lot of time. You're going to people's houses for meals. What's a good advice? You want to leave the meal, but you don't want to be rude to the host. So how do you try to end the meal in a graceful way? So I think the top 3 answers, one of them was, I think this was the top one. What's your favorite tune for Shir Malo? So you'd say that to the host. First of all, it's awkward. And second of all, it's pretty direct. Number 2, the other one was, what time is Mincha? Early Shabbos Mincha. Shabbos afternoon, you're eating them. What time is mincha? That's a pretty good one. The other one was, I think, what do you do? You talk about what would you do if you're you have to go somewhere and someone else is holding you back, something like that, without talking about, this is the situation I'm in. I don't know. The second one wasn't a bad idea, but Tosos weighs in on this over here. If you didn't realize, in Halacha Beis, which is a quote from Tosos in Brachos. Right? He talks about this case. You're at someone else's house and you say Havlam and Avarech. It's not a Hesach Hadas because you're at the host's house and he can, if you say to his wife, go bring the Mayim Achronim, he can, you could veto that and say, no, don't bring the Mayim Achronim. It's his house. Of course he could do that. So what are Tosos even talking about? Who would have the gall to even do that? To talk to your host's wife and say, bring the Mayim Achronim? Imagine that. This is what Tosos is talking about. You're at somebody else's house and you say to the wife or to the butler, bring the Mayim Achronim, bring the Koshal Bracha. Who would have the gall to do that? Tosos has the gall to say that, and this is the correct. People are, especially from America, from the Western world, are very embarrassed to speak up. But when you live here in Israel, you realize if you don't speak up for yourself, you will get crushed over here. In America, there's something called customer service, there's courtesy, you're expected to be polite. In Israel, this is the Middle East, even though it's a democracy, and it's a Jewish country, it is still part of the Middle East, and therefore the rules of the Middle East and the rules of Asia apply. And therefore you got to stand up for yourself. I learned this, it took me a couple of years living here as a married person to learn this. You got to be aggressive, you got to assertive and even aggressive. And then you can start talking. You have to you go to the hospitals, you go to the doctor office, you go to the stores. People will cut you in line. You have to speak up for yourself. That's just the way it works. People expect you to speak up for yourself. People will take advantage of you if you don't speak up for yourself. But Tosfos, who lived in France or Germany, which is part of the Western world, they said, even in the Western world, you can say Havlam and Avara. What would be the case talking about? Who would ever imagine someone doing such a thing? But Tosfos imagined it, right? And he's telling you the halacha, if you go and say Havlam and Avara, because you want to get out of the meal, direct. There's no more direct way of saying that. When you tell his wife, go bring the Mayim Achronim, right? Nonetheless, he tells you the halacha. The halacha happens to be, it's not effective because the Balabayas is in charge, the host is in charge, not you. The fact that he mentioned such a case shows you that's the proper way to act. You don't have to go ahead and try to be discreet about it and say, "Oh, what time is the next mincha?" or "What's your favorite tune for Shir Amalos?" You can just say, in a nice way, based on Tosfos, "Do you mind if we bench now? I have to go." Very simply like that. I don't know if you have to do it, say it to his wife, but you could say that also according to Tosfos. But I think just the best way to do it is, "Do you mind if we bench now or make a mezuzah now because I really have to go?" Just be direct. Speak up your mind. Speak up and be yourself. If you have a problem with someone, talk to them directly about it. Tell them what your problem is. This is in all areas of life. But here, you have to go. You don't want to stay there. It's not rude. Everyone has their own interests over here. Yes, he invited you for a meal. It doesn't mean you're obligated to stay there for 3 hours listening to him talk about nonsense. So you're allowed to speak your mind, speak up for yourself, even in America, even wherever you want, and say, "Listen, I gotta go. Do you mind if we bench now, make a Zoom?" And it's not offensive. The person will say, "Sure." He's hosting you. He wants to, a host wants his guests to enjoy. So if he knew that you're the guest in your mind, you're thinking, "I got to get out of here," he would want you to make a zima. Everyone would want that. They don't want to keep you there against your will. It feel awkward. Let me tell you another story that you hate. No, they want you to leave, and they want you to feel comfortable. So just speak up, tell him how you're feeling, and take care of the job. Get the job done. You don't have to ask him what his favorite Dumas share Malas is. I hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.